Welcome to the beginnings of about a 3 to 4 hour ride down to New Orleans on this wonderful rail car that's standing behind me that's currently owned by Kansas City Southern. I'm Sean Wilson, Secretary for the Department of Transportation and Development, and we're excited to have you all here for an early morning event. Last year, Congress passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which will allocate nearly $6 billion in infrastructure projects in Louisiana via formula, not including the opportunities we have from a discretionary perspective. This historic investment from the Biden administration will aid the state in making the first major step with intercity passenger rail from Baton Rouge to New Orleans a reality. Both the city of Baton Rouge and New Orleans, as well as all of the parishes in between, have long expressed their support for this rail service, and this administration shares that passion for rail. The preferred route through the roughly 80-mile rail link has been contemplated on being the KCS railroad between Baton Rouge to New Orleans Airport and then into Union Passenger Terminal, and then also touching a piece of the Canadian National Railroad tracks from the airport into UPT. We are exploring having intermediate service to get the train moving as quickly as possible, especially given the success that we've had on surface transportation in this administration that we've been able to achieve. We've also recognized a number of national best practices to establish a service and to grow that service once it's implemented, while simultaneously investing in transit and other alternatives to mobility in a smart and meaningful way. Those investments involve state, federal, and local partners, and to that end, we want to thank all of the local governments from across the state that have expressed value and interest by putting their own resources in developing services and support services for this. Whether it's the mayor of Gonzales, Barney Arsenault, who's here, or Sharon Weston Broome, the mayor of Baton Rouge, who's en route, all of them see the value on this end of connecting the service. As the service grows, so will the need for additional opportunities and additional stops and improvements that will be added because of the demand and opportunity that this rail service can equally provide. A rail line connecting Louisiana's capital to the largest metropolitan area in the state will have immense benefits, with the biggest being reduced traffic on our roadways. And to put this in context, it is right up there in terms of its importance from a policy solution as HOV, as transit, and other telecommuting opportunities that we provide. This will be an opportunity for us to really finally get cars off the road, reducing congestion, and helping us with our climate responsibility efforts as a result of our state's climate action plan. This potential service that will become a reality, along with many other transportation projects scheduled to let this year, will move our state forward, creating a better overall quality of life for all users, expand the economy, and provide a more reliable transportation system for our citizens and businesses in Louisiana. Starting a service is absolutely not easy, and it cannot happen overnight. There are a number of people that we want to thank who are joining us today, and the governor will mention some of them, but we've got representatives of the Southern Rail Commission. We've got the FRA Administrator Amit Bose here, the Mayor of Gonzales, as I mentioned. We've also got the CEO of Amtrak, KCS, and Canadian Pacific that will be participating with us on this experience. We also have Renee Laparolari, who serves on the Southern Rail Commission and is the Multimodal Commissioner for the state of Louisiana. Also, we've got Governor John Bell Edwards, who has dedicated his entire morning to sharing this experience with us, and it's important to recognize that this has been a gubernatorial priority for him since day one. With that said, I'd like to invite the governor of the great state of Louisiana to say a few words and to recognize some of the other partners that may be with us today. Governor?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Sean, for the introduction, but more so for your work across Louisiana, and not just on rail, but everything that you and the folks at the Department of Transportation Development do. In just a few minutes, Sean and I, along with officials from Amtrak, Kansas City Southern Rail, Canadian Pacific, will be traveling on a passenger train from Baton Rouge to New Orleans to inspect the railroad line that would be used for the intercity rail between those two cities. And I do want to take just a moment and thank the KCS President and CEO, Pat Altzenmeyer, CP President Keith Creel, Amtrak President Stephen Gardner, and Administrator Amit Bose. It was only a few weeks ago that Secretary Wilson and I made this request that we have an inspection train, that we do it as soon as possible, and that all of these principals come to Baton Rouge in order to have this inspection train run between these two cities so that we could further discuss this concept. And the fact that it was put together so quickly and that all the principals are here, I think speaks volumes to their commitment to passenger rail and to this particular link in particular. So I am extremely encouraged. You all know that for years, this passenger rail link has been something that people across Louisiana have been talking about. The desire has always been there, we just didn't have the means. Well, the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act does provide those means now. And I want to thank the Biden administration for making it possible. I want to thank Congress, in particular with respect to our delegation. It was Senator Cassidy and Congressman Carter who voted for that bill, which is now a reality, and hopefully this rail link between Baton Rouge and New Orleans will become a reality as a result of it. The impending merger between Kansas City Southern Railroad and Canadian Pacific Railroad provides new opportunities and renewed support to introduce this passenger rail service between Louisiana's two biggest cities. The Canadian Pacific Railroad has expressed their support for the new service and pledged their cooperation with the effort. This is in addition to industrial opportunities that they have identified in their pursuit of KCS. And while we're standing here next to the Capitol and discussing inspection train between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, I want you to understand that our administration is looking at passenger rail across the state of Louisiana. The CP-KCS merger, if approved later this year, hopefully by the Surface Transportation Board, will bring renewed attention and additional opportunities for passenger rail service across North Louisiana as well, with an Amtrak long-distance train that would connect Dallas to Atlanta and then on to Washington, D.C. and New York. Obviously, this would cross Louisiana along the I-20 corridor and would be extremely important for our state as well, and that's very important to us. Today marks, I think, a significant milestone in our efforts to establish a comprehensive passenger service to take advantage of our robust rail infrastructure. And obviously we want to get this up and running just as soon as we possibly can, but especially to ease congestion along I-10 in advance of when we're going to have construction going on here between the bridge and the split. Incredibly important. So again, I want to thank all of the stakeholders for being here, for being aligned, and I want to thank again the Biden administration as well, because passenger rail is something that's been very important to the president for a long time. A rail line connecting our capital to the largest metropolitan area will do wonders for our state. And it will allow Baton Rouge and New Orleans to compete together against other regions of the country and not be in competition with one another. And it will be so much better for our state if one can live in Baton Rouge and work in New Orleans, or live in New Orleans and entertain in Baton Rouge, or attend the Saints games or the LSU games, or go to the airport without having to drive a car and to park, to get all of these cars off of the interstate, to help us meet our climate action plan goals. So for a multitude of reasons, this passenger rail link is extremely important to us. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that it happens, and that it happens as soon as possible, so that we can all benefit from it. And by the way, we're also going to be looking at reconnecting New Orleans and Mobile with the old, working through the Southern Rail Commission to restore that passenger train that was lost after Hurricane Katrina in 2005. I think that would be great for our economy as well. So Secretary Wilson and I are excited about this opportunity. We're excited about getting on this train, doing this inspection, and then making this passenger rail service happen just as soon as possible. And with that, I think I've been instructed to say all aboard. Is that right, Sean?
I think so.
All right. So it is all aboard, and here we go. Thank you all.